Hello everyone. If you can buy worn out coins like this and the price you get it for is less than like a good coin would be, in other words, like at melt, would you buy them? That's what we're exploring tonight. Let's explore this idea. This one has a small hole drilled in it, right where the mint mark would be if it had one. This is more like a hole punch. It's really big. But this coin's worn out quite a bit. You can make out 1 9 and the top part of it 2. Can't make out a mint mark. But would you buy coins like this? Or how about this worn out? This is so worn out you can tell it's a seated Liberty quarter. And it has the little ribbon banner with the model in it. So you know it's after a certain date. You do know it's an estimate. That's all you know about it. The date, you really can't make out nothing there. It's just some dirt. So what do you do? What do you do? Let's look at a different thing that happens to these. Plugged. Had a hole and someone plugs it with something. This one's not worn out so much you can't tell the date. You can see part of Liberty on it too. 1876, seated Liberty. No mint mark. So what do you do? Here's another one that's been holed. Half dime. Seated Liberty. It's kind of too bad because, well, it has a good amount of detail left on it. You can actually read Liberty on this. This one's one that's been bent. Or dateless standing Liberty quarters. Or like this one, it's got a hole above the date. It's 1853 with arrows, dime. Seated Liberty dime, no mint mark. Although it does look partially damaged where the mint mark would be, so if it had one, it's been torn off of it. How about this $50? It's got a hole. It's 1871. It's beat up. Not worn super bad though, because you can read Liberty on it. And that's a good thing with these if you can read the Liberty, even if part of it's not really strong. So, I mean, would you buy or would you not buy? If you do buy, it's got to be cheap. some other stuff out of this row of 50-cent coins. This one, 1856, Orleans Mint, had a hole in it. And when I bought it, it was priced about the same as any common circulated one like this Walker that someone nail punched. This is about the same price as any of this kind. This one's got a worn out rim. The most worn out JFK I've ever seen. It's a 64D. You know that because you can still see part of the Denver mark right there. I mean, here's damage on this one. Looks like someone took a pair of side cutters and tried to cut the coin right near the rim. Now, silver copper, this thick is, well, 90% silver and 10% copper. This thick is still a considerable amount of silver to cut through if you're trying to cut it with like a side cutter, wire cutters, whatever. For polished coins like this, if they're cheap enough, would you buy them? There's lots of ways these coins get damaged. Polishing's another way. This Franklin half seems slightly polished. Not as much as this one. This is definitely polished. Would you buy something like this if you had an opportunity and wasn't too expensive? It is damaged, gouged there, and this looks for excessive wear, kind of like this one has on this side. It's 1902 old. Back isn't as bad on this though. Kind of a shame that the front doesn't look as good. The rim is totally gone around the edge. Or partial date Walkers. They're cheap enough. Well, that one's been polished a little bit. So would you buy this kind of stuff if you can get it? If it's got to be cheap enough, though. All these, they've been circulated quite a bit. They were, see the straight lines on the back here. I think they were glued on cardboard or something, like a card. They were very, very cheap when I bought them. Which is one reason why I did buy them. That's the question. If you can get it near spot, which a lot of these I did get near spot, or in the case of some of them, they were less than spot when I bought them. Like, I don't know if you were here, or if you've seen this one. The most worn out JFK coin I've ever seen. Anybody I know that's seen it says the same thing. They ain't never seen one worn this much. It is a 64, 90%. I can see part of the D is still there. It's the only good thing about these, with the D being that far away from the rim. The rest of the coin will be worn out. The date's gone. I mean, you can't even see the hint of the date on this. But when I bought it, it was $7, and I think melt at the time was $7.50, so it was under melt. But then, given the wear, it may not even have, enough of the melt value left in it to make it one that you should want to buy. I think I'll drop this one in here too. Now, sometimes they ain't, they are not melt price. Case of a 21 piece dollar, they're rare enough that even with that hole, you probably wouldn't be able to buy this around melt. Even though it's damaged, the 21 is a little bit harder to come by. So you probably would not get this at melt. Now, if you were here last night, I was talking about this. This is a pocket watch. This doesn't do anything for just in time or nothing. The only thing this button here does is open the door, and the dial doesn't catch. I was able to pry open the back, and it's a battery powered one, so maybe with the battery in it, it might be able to do something. Don't know. But this isn't silver, but if you go to some vendor event, flea market, whatever, and they got one of these, bicentennial, something you've never seen before, and it's $1. I mean, would you buy that? I know I would. This was also $1. Kind of looks a little goldish in tone, but it's certainly not gold. Gold piece. It says 20D on the back. If this was gold, it'd be considerably heavier than what it is. It don't really weigh anything. But that's my big question. Had these out for a little while to talk about. That, my friends, is a big pile of silver dollars. Well, not big, but a good sized pile of silver dollars. And they're worn out pretty bad. Would you buy these if they were cheap enough? I do remember this one when I first bought it last year. It was $16. Date's gone. It's about as slick a piece dollar as I've ever seen. I wish I did. I've never seen in person, only seen videos or pictures. This is worn so bad the date's gone. When I bought this one, the guy let me have it. For at the time, it's pretty much a melt on a Morgan. And the rest of these were a little bit more, but not very much. Not as much as the online dealers want for coal piece dollars that are slicked like this. Those two aren't quite as bad slicks. That one's not really a slick. It's damaged though. 1886 Orleans. Still make out the oil mint on this one quite well. And that, I mean, if you can buy these for about $20 online, you can't get them that cheap. Like, I know this was $16, and at the time last year, I mean, Melt was probably 17.50 to $18 range. Yeah, that was my question tonight. Will you buy any of this kind of stuff that's worn out, beat up, or has a hole in it? Um, don't know how much longer I'm going to go live. You mean that slicked piece dollar that I got for $16? Yeah. I mean, this one's a little bit of a shame. It's drilled because it's got a full rim, and the toning on a coin like this that looks like this is not too bad. If there was a mint mark there, it's just gone. But I think this one cost me less than $2, I think. Sometimes when you buy a lot of this stuff, it becomes harder to remember how much you actually paid for it. But when it's, I don't know if you've seen this coin. I got to get it out of the bag. You can't see it good enough. I mean, half dimes are kind of hard to come by in the first place. They're so small and so thin. Get the light on it right. You can still read Liberty on this one. And the details on the back are pretty good for one this old. But considering the size of this, when you compare it to a dime, and the thickness of it compared to a dime, I'm pretty sure that these coins were lost. A lot of them were lost. Who knows how many got lost and how many you might be able to find in old school yards and stuff if you metal detect, and it's an old enough place to have had one of these. The city I live in was founded in 1816, but I don't really know. By 1840, it hadn't grown very big. It's a lot bigger now than it used to be, but it's still not a huge city by any standard. But plan on getting a battery for this and seeing if it works, and then figure out how I'm going to get the time set. If the time won't set, I can't set the time. It's really not worth anything, because a clock that doesn't, you can't set the time on, you just can't really do anything with it. But you can look at the design and the steam engine on the front here. It's got some pretty neat design to it. But that was my big question. Stuff like that. Damaged coins, worn out coins. Would you buy them? And if you ever do, what would you pay for them? They have to be cheap. Like, especially one where you can't even see the date. They have to be real cheap. Anyway, I think I'm going to go ahead and bring this down for the night, and hope that everybody has a good night. And I don't know, maybe I'll stream Thursday night, or maybe I'll join on Dolly's live stream. I don't know. But Old Country Coin Collectors, thanks for stopping by and giving me a few comments in my chat. And hope you have a good night. It's back to work tomorrow. Another day. Thanks. Goodbye, y'all.